Hello, Star Wars CCG players, fans, and folks who just want to hang out with me on a Monday afternoon. Garrett Larson here, Deadbody on Slack and the forums and everywhere else, hanging out to bring you the Outrider Cup action. This will be game one of the Outrider Cup. The Outrider Cup is a invitational event. The top, I believe, 5 or 6 players in the US versus the top 5 or 6 in the rest of the world, chosen via tournament finishes, the Player of the Year points. And then each team also gets one player of their choosing who is not in that top cut to add to the team. It's Ryder Cup rules. More, whatever side wins more gets bragging rights. This is game one. The format's a little interesting because what happens is all of these players had to pick their side or pick their deck first. So, like, Brian Fred is going to play We Have a Plan, and Timo Dusel is going to play Thrawn. So they assigned within the team that they were going to play those decks before they knew what the pairings were. And then during the Boston Classic, you saw the pairings drawing that came from Hall of Famer Chris Schoenthal. And that was a awesome little thing. And this is something that's been done. They've done this a few times before. And honestly, I don't remember who won it last year. I'm bad at remembering those sorts of things, and it is what it is. But we're going to get started here. Again, Timo Dusel, Dylan, online monster, plays all the time, is on Thrawn, and Brian Fred, last I heard, he made the Hall of Fame. Kind of good player, super good guy, is on We Have a Plan. And these were both decks they had to choose, not knowing who their opponent was going to be, not knowing what their opponent was going to play. Traditionally, I believe WHAP is slightly advantaged here. It's going to depend a lot on if Timo can get his decrees out quickly. It's also going to depend on exactly how strong Brian's space is. Brian is starting Galactic Republic Navy. So he's got Jedi Business, We'll Take the Long Way, and Galactic Republic Navy. And Timo is starting with Thrawn's Art Collection, Rest Order Secret Plans, Alert My Star Destroyer, and Endor Shield. Pretty standard start for both players. Like, this is not anything crazy, not anything I'm super surprised about. Jack Bear, I believe they just locked objectives. I don't know that the deck lists are locked. That being said, I am not the tournament director for this and don't know for sure, nor did I check that because I didn't expect that question to be asked, and y'all are being mean to me. So we're going to assume it was locked type, not locked list. So then after they saw the pairings, they could say, okay, well, what can I do with We Have a Plan to improve my game plan against Thrawn? What can I do with Thrawn to improve my game plan against WHAP? And if I'm wrong on that, someone who's been in the Outrider Cup or is knowing this or is able to go look at the rules, because I can read or I can talk, but doing both is going to end up with us both being real upset. So, and Silver Glen cheering for Europe. I like Timo a lot, and I'm going to homer and say, let's go B-Fred. All right, so it does sound, deck list did have to be submitted, so they did have to submit not just the archetype, but the deck list prior to knowing the matchup, prior to knowing who they were playing. I think that's the right way to do it. Like, I'm glad to hear that's what it was, because otherwise you can get deep into the weeds of the how do we plan and counter plan, etc. And we see Timo dropping Kashyyyk from hand. He used Arrest Order to get the Executor Docking Bay. And Chimera plus Grand Admiral Thrawn going to Lothal. Honestly, I kind of expect him to move him to Kashyyyk right away. Like, this is going to be a damage race. This is not going to be a super interactive game. I think you go as aggro as you can. You know, it's make them lose force. So, see, I like that Wayne had to look it up. I feel a little better now that the info was there, but you did have to look it up, and I did not have time to do it. Honestly, these guys started about 25 minutes earlier than I was planning for them to, and some of that time was going to be me doing a small amount of research because, I mean, I'll be honest, you were only going to get a small amount of research out of me. But you would have gotten a little bit, and I would have actually looked that up and been like, hey, did these have to be submitted? So we're all good. Dan over here, rooting against America. Aren't you a veteran? This is, how dare you? So, yeah, Logan, I think there was a defensible plan to say, hey, let's leave him at Lothal to get Pride and shuttle Pride up, but there's also this is going to be a race. I think you can get to Decree without it, so we'll go fast. The one thing this does do is because Teemo used all his force, he cannot barrier Amidala, so Beefred can just drop Amidala at the courtyard, move her in for free, and pick some cards up. There's Camino from hand for Beefred, so both players are going to have a decent amount of force and options, you know. Oh, Beefred goes for the Camino site and misses. That is... Normally I'd say, like, that's super unfortunate, but, like, it's WHAP versus Thrawn. I would bet if you handed these guys their opponent's lists, or handed them a blank list and said, fill in your opponent's deck, they could probably put 50 of the 60 cards in there without even thinking about it, and frankly, probably even more than that. So, giving up the verify isn't a big deal. It does stink for Beefred just because it costs him that 2 force next turn. That being said, Beefred said he was trying not to give a verify. So there may have been some things that were a little surprising in there. You did see Teemo immediately drop the There's No Try shield. That tells me there was probably some sense alter in there. I'm not shocked to see that in We Have a Plan. You do see that fairly frequently because it's such a Jedi focused deck, and you're like, I want my Jedi out, I want to stop and sense your, you know, the interrupts that really hurt me. So I don't think it's a crazy play, and like that you see in chat, Beefred says, I was trying not to give up a verify, and Teemo says, I'd have pulled it anyways, but not till you played your first Jedi. And Brian says, yeah, that makes sense. So, you know, these are two players who are very, very good. They know each other. They know each other to be very, very good. Like, and they're both good guys. Like, this is going to be a relatively relaxed game in that regard. Like, if I was watching these guys in person, it would be a super, you know, I would bet this would be a very fun game to watch them play in person because they're just both great guys. So, yeah, I mean, Logan and Control Tunnel Vision, again, wouldn't really be a shock to be in the deck, though. Like, that's kind of the thing is, like, and actually, There's No Try wouldn't impact that at all. But, like, Control Tunnel Vision is a, you know, it's a card that floats in and out of the edge of WHAP pretty consistently, so it's not a crazy, you know, Teemo's not shocked to see that. And just, sorry, just had to respond to somebody asked on our Slack channel where this game was being streamed, so I had to tell it's twitch.tv/SWCCG PC, and wanted folks to know where it was. And, you know, Slack is a great way to stay in touch with the game. There's a lot of talk on there. It's a little more open focused, I think. A lot of the retro talk goes on the Discord, on the book club, versus the, you know, a lot of the open talk is on Slack. But our Slack channel is a great way to stay in touch with the game, connect with people who live near you. Get, deck ideas, talk tech, and also just talk lots of, talk with other people who you're friends with, who play the game with you. Like, it's just a fun spot to hang out. And same with the Discord. And, even the forums they're a lot less channel on them now, but it's awesome. If Beefred loses, does he get deported? I mean, is there a country that wants Beefred? Like, I like Beefred. And there we see price from hand, which double, may have, because Timo didn't draw any, that meant price was in his opening hand last time. So that's one more very good reason to just move the Chimera to Kashyyyk. And Timo just draws a bunch. It says, look, I'm draining for 3, you're draining for nothing. I need to find my decree. I need to draw. Let's go. Saves 1 to threaten either a grabber or a barrier. I mean, I wouldn't hate if Beefred has his space to just go aggro at it right now. But I don't know. And yeah, Carl, I don't think we can deport Beefred. Who will give me a big hug at every major I show up at, if not for Beefred? I mean, and everybody else, because I'm kind of a hugger, but whatever. Like, I like Beefred. We're going to keep him around. Flip side, if Timo loses, do the Euros send him over to us? Is this like a little game of Red Rover? If Timo loses, we send Timo over, and there we go. I'm game for that. So, Brian drew up the Camino 2-0, so he got that out. Playing Ascension Guns to move the Queen after he activated Force with WHAP. So he's doing, I mean, this is not Brian's first rodeo playing We Have a Plan. He has played this a bunch. He knows how to play it. These little steps that you just, give you that little extra edge, that little extra, hey, I remembered to do this. All that stuff is important and good. And Brian's going to do it very well. Now, I think the question is, what does Brian have in hand? What does he think Timo has in hand? And how does he want to defend Amidala? Like, the reality is Timo likely has limited ground power that can go at the throne room. You're probably talking a Choke Lord Vader, and that's it. Get out, Ryan. Also, did you really whiteboarder your name in Twitch somehow? Was that you, or is that just random luck? Because I'll be honest, if it's you, that's a commitment to a bit I am all there for. So, Beefred's got Captain Panaka, Protector of the Queen, Pancake, sitting down with Amidala. So she's well protected right now, except against a Choke Vader. Like, a Choke Vader could actually be could make things real spicy if Brian doesn't back him up. And there we go. There's the backup with Ahsoka. And now I think Brian's in a perfectly cromulent spot. He's very happy where he's at. And now it's a figure out how to get what he needs to go interact in space. Because I think Brian has a better chance of doing damage and interacting in space than Timo does going to the ground. So we see Brian just draw some cards. Like, this is... Timo does not want to go to the throne room at this point. There's no upside for it. It is not exactly match play, Logan. It is a... Because I don't believe differential gets counted, although I'm sure Wayne will come in and tell me how I'm wrong. It is 1 for each side. Basically, the Brian Fred is playing Timo with his light side, and he's playing someone else with dark side. And it's just a straight number of wins. And then if it is tied, I believe the captains do a match play single match to finish it. I believe we had that happen 2 or 4 years ago. The Outrider Cup is an every other year thing, and I believe that happened at some point, but I'm also possible I'm just making things up. I got a lot of airtime to fill here, and it's kind of a slow start right now. Like, there's not a lot of interaction. We got, Timo drained Brian stacked a card. Timo went and got a card with price. If it wasn't Decree, it's because Decree's not in the deck or not in the reserve. See, look at that Ryan busting in here. Like a captain's match 2 years ago. Sounds about right. I think that's what it was. And I'm, we'll go, we'll go with that as that's what it was. And I apologize. Got to move that over real quick. So, mostly because I want to check. I think my Twitch Prime might be about up, so I want to renew that if it. Ooh, it looks like it might be. Let's resubscribe using Prime. Subscribe with Prime. There we go. I earned a subscription badge. Yay! 31 months of Prime subscription. What got stacked on art was Blaster Deflection. A 9-month streak, no less, even better. So, what you guys just saw me do for a second there is upload is to use Twitch Prime, and we see that Timo played Tarkin's Bounty. My guess is okay. Did he not find Decree? Like, if he didn't find it with price, did he just Tarkin's Bounty to try and find it? And now he's force pushing and going nuts. So, but yeah, and there's Riot 87 months. Good lordy. So, subscribing with Prime, if you have Amazon Prime, it is free to support a Twitch channel. It puts a little bit of money in the PC's pocket. I'm not going to lie to you and say it doesn't. Like, it's a capitalist world, although we are a 501c3 corporation. But it puts a little money in the PC's pocket. It helps pay for things like GEMP. This is not free. It pays Dan's crazy salary as stream lead because, we know I don't get paid nothing. And it just helps the Players Committee for all the things they do, all the things we do to put this game on and together. And again, it's free. If you have Prime, you can support it. It costs you nothing. It's super easy. And Timo just dropped a whole bunch of nastiness. Like, we see Chokelord Vader inside Blizzard 4. He did not get out of Blizzard 4, which is a little bit of a surprise. He also dropped Decree and Coarse and Rough and Irritating, so that he's going to have at least 2 battles where Brian cannot cancel his battle destiny. And that is... Timo's got a good run set up right here. And yes, Carl, I do get paid in foils, and shiny things make me happy, and so I'm not going to complain too hard. Because yes, shiny things are what make Garrett smile. We see Beefred causes a ping of 2 with They Will Be Lost and Confused. And I have no idea what that means, Matt. I'm like, I actually know a little bit of German, and something is often something else. I don't know where you're going with that. I'm hoping someone can tell me that. And Brian Fred says, all right, well, let's dance here. And we're going to throw down Yularen on the result. The result is often resentment. Okay. And then we see Thrawn Pincer played on to target the Chimera, which adds 1 to the hyperspeed. Dreadnought. Okay. Timo says I'm a cycle of 6 here, which makes sense in theory to get those 6s back. But on the other hand, like, you don't always want 6s against WHAP. Like, you really want to cycle 3s because those can't be canceled. And there's Rick Ole and the Queen's Starship. So it's another just immune to a bunch. And And here we see Timo looks like he's going to go grab the Lost in Space via Fanfare. Yeah, a laser cannon battery could be a little nasty, especially the rebeat. Like, the LCB is not an easy hit right now because of the, he doesn't have any force, so Timo would have to draw a 6, a 6 or a 7 to hit anything. But, next turn when he can pay 3 and nice. Yeah, oh, definitely, Logan. A 6 is great if he pulls a card off sand, but he put that 6 back. He's not going to get to that to pull it off sand. Maybe next turn, because he is activating 17. But there's no way Fred just stands in front of him like that. I'm not sure where Fred is going with this. Honestly, I almost would have preferred them all go to Camino. And with Vader stuck on Lothal now, I think I would have moved them to Camino. I'd have moved, maybe even just Pancake over to the hallway to at least add another damage until Timo spreads a little bit, and then try and force a race, because right now I just don't love that space. Yeah, you're up a bunch of power, and you're probably going to be immune to the draw, but there's a decent chance Thrawn is also immune to the draw, and it's probably a, lose Thrawn, Lost in Space him, get him back, and now you're right back there. So I'm curious where, and Brian goes straight to move phase. So Brian chose not to battle there. All right. I'm, Dan, just for the record, and I feel like this needs to be said on stream so it can be on, YouTube in infinitum. Brian Fred is older than I am by a solid 5 months. So I am, Brian is also in the Hall of Old, and there's a visored vision to hit the pincer, and likely Brian's going to play that used. I don't necessarily love playing it lost just to make him lose the 1. Yep, he's playing it used, says, all right, Timo, lose a force. So, and Brian's just, all right, I'm going to stick with this visored vision. This is a deck that just goes pingity ping, 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 ping. And that's where he's going with it. This space battle could get spicy. I'll be honest, I'm a little worried about this space battle for B-Fred. So I expect we'll see Timo's going to activate, and I think right now he's just figuring out what he wants to activate. We know where the 6 is. He could activate down to it and do something, and I think what we're seeing there is B-Fred says, no, you're going to activate 1, and then I'm going to grappling hook shuffle you. Nice. Well done, B-Fred. And that might have been why he said, you know what, I don't have to worry about the battle, because you're not going to have a track 6, and my ships are immune to a bunch. I've got a bunch of power. It's not an easy kill here. And if you're pulling off of sand, you're also not drawing multiples. So, it's not a gimme here. So do you see the drain of 2 at the capital city? And Brian's going to lose 2. He loses an Ascension Guns off the top and a Keller and Beck. Not a huge shock in any of those. And there we see the arrest order used to search for a document that certainly wasn't there. Timo just wanted to know what his destiny were. Yeah, Logan, I was a little surprised Brian did not battle. I think I would have liked to battle. I'd have taken the chance that he wasn't going to draw good enough. And worst case scenario, if he does, you lose the Queen's ship, which is good, but not crazy good. And then you run the Resolute to Camino, and you force Timo to at least start following you. I just, yeah, I'm sure Brian has a plan. I want to see what it is. That's the kind of, I joke about it occasionally, and I've certainly heard from players that like I do these, I do the stream and I'm like, oh, I don't like that play, and then they have a plan, and some of that is that frankly I need to. The Resolute on the armor on the Resolute is 6, so yeah, an LCB could be real nasty, and Timo looks like he's got something because he says here's a vengeance with Ozzel, so he can get his own ping when he wins the battle. Um, But like some of this is I need to talk about what I see or think of's going on because I need to keep talking because you guys don't want to just watch this silently. If you did, you wouldn't watch it on Twitch. You'd just watch it on GIMP. So that means occasionally talking about lines of play that may not actually happen. And we see Timo playing history, philosophy, and art to add 2 to his total battle destiny. And right now he's drawing 2. I cannot fathom that he sticks with that unless he knows what his destiny are. Like if he knows he's got a pair of 3s in there, or like a 3 and a blank, then he might just say, you know what, I'll take my 2. And Brian grabs history, philosophy, and art, which I think is a real strong play. Like you don't want, there's other cards you want to grab. You're certainly going to want to grab Dark Time as well. But like that's another thing that also adds to the gets around WHAPs. You only get a 3. Because you're going to start seeing a lot of, at the end of this, you're going to see a lot of cards stacked. Logan, I think you're right. You do probably still want to limit B-Fred. That being said, I could at least see an argument to say I have 3/3. I'll take those, make it an 8, which means it's going to kill Rick's ship and Yularen. And if B-Fred cracks 7, you can lose Thrawn and Price, and then Lost in Space Thrawn. Like, I can see if you had 3/3, so you know they're not getting canceled, I can see an argument to not take off Sand and to let B-Fred take the risk that, B-Fred's drawing 2, but he's not adding anything to it. And he still needs to get an 8 in a deck that does have a bunch of high destiny, but also there's a lot of Jedi and some lightsabers and stuff still floating around in there that are not good destiny. So we see Timo dropping another, and there's the command to limit to 1. So Timo may be thinking the same thing I was, which is he has his destiny are good enough he's going to get 1 through. And that might be the plan, is if he's only got 1/3 in there, you're going to get 1 through. Oh, I don't love Brian grabbing command. Someone's going to have to tell me for sure, is Dark Time immune to sense? I feel like it maybe isn't, and that might be what you're a little bit concerned about, but I'm not sure I love grabbing command there. I'm not sure I love not grabbing it either, so it's, not a great choice either way. And B-Fred, I think, is sitting on that sense in hand, like the fact that it was still, he stacked it. All right, so he stacked it. He did not, oh, he's still thinking of grabbing it, because yeah, it's B-Fred's clock that's going down, so B-Fred has the sense. So Logan, the thing where I think history is a good grab is Timo's a good enough player to go, I'm going to draw 3s, and then I'm going to be adding a bunch to it with history, because you're going to end up with a bunch of cards stacked on there. Because Brian's not really doing a lot of damage, so you're going to be able to get a bunch of stacked cards. And there is a 3 for Battle Destiny, so that's the first one. And a 2. Okay, so yeah. Timo knew, hey, I've got this, and the total, so total Battle Destiny 7 is not ideal for Timo, because that does just cost him Rick's ship. And B-Fred draws a 4, so Timo wins the battle. He's going to get a ping off of the Vengeance. Frankly, with that 4, does Ozzel protect? Instead of force draining, may draw the top card. Yeah. So we see another card stacked on History, Philosophy, and Art. Yep, Teemo stacks, pitches Ozzel, which makes a lot of sense. And then Lost in Space is him. Fine. I think Teemo's saying you're not going to battle me. You're not going to come after me again. And now I'm not going to need Lost in Space for the second time. Brian loses Rick in the Queen's ship. I mean, Brian at this point is going to have to run away on his turn. He'll get a free ping of 1, like... And there we see the shuffle of the lost pile by Teemo. He says, I do not want you to be able to Unita to get back the ship there. I mean, Carl, a sneaky control on Lost in Space would have been cute, but like, it's Ozzel. Who cares? Ozzel's not... Ozzel doesn't move the needle. You've burnt Lost in Space. He can't use it to keep Thrawn alive another turn. That's all you really need to worry about. So yeah, it's fine. I don't think you need to control it to kill Ozzel. I mean, it would have been cute, but like, if you're Brian, you're not battling there. So now it's a, what am I going to do? So we see the ping for 1 coming from Brian. Teemo loses a trample from hand, which, again, makes a lot of sense. Brian is not going to be going after Blizzard 4 with guys that are trample bait. You know, if he's going after Blizzard 4, it's going to be with Mace or excuse me, Mace or Qui-Gon, or maybe General Kenobi, someone who's fully immune or effectively fully immune, and also not really easy to trample. So, and Brian says, hey, I'm going to cancel Image of the Dark Lord. Oh, Blake, I think Teemo played that battle beautifully. I was, honestly, the only downside for Teemo is the History, Philosophy, Art effectively did nothing. Like, based on what he drew, based on how that worked, he would have had exactly the same thing if he had saved that History, Philosophy, and Art for another time than right there, because it didn't change the math at all. And yes, Chris, we know he's not trampling this turn, but I think it's more he's not trampling ever. And like this, I mean, Teemo's good, but I don't think he's tracking an 8 to stomp on either one of those guys. He's drawing a 3 here, but that's not a great draw. And I think Brian says, look, I'm just going to spread now. Like, Teemo's got a lot of cards on table. He does have, and he's got 23 cards left to Brian's 32. So, like, Brian's got a lot more cards left, although Teemo's doing more damage. But there's Killian on the Resolute as a pilot, which is fine. Like, as stated, I think you battle with the Jedi right now because you're up in power, and why not? And he added the lightsaber to add another draw, add another to the drain. And then I think you run the Resolute the heck out of Dodge over to Camino and make Teemo chase you. Because you're winning this battle, and all that's going to happen is Teemo's going to lose Vader. I mean, he's going to draw this 3 for Battle Destiny that we both know is there. So there's no reason to do anything other than that. Oh! All right. So he sneak attacks to place a card from hand. So that means he's going to have to take a card off. I don't like that play. I don't... If you sneak attack to high card, you've got to take a card off sand now to get it through, and both characters are fully immune. And you're down 4 in power. You were going to draw the 3 for Battle Destiny, so you're only down 1, and Vader forfeits for 8. Like, no matter what, at the end of this battle, Brian's going to have 2 guys sitting there, and you're going to have Blizzard 4 with no Vader. I don't like that play. I just don't see a benefit to it. Like, okay, you drew a 7, but both players are fully, yeah, getting the 7 back is cute, and maybe you didn't have a gun and decided that was what you wanted to do, but like, there was no upside to that play. It was a play that wasn't going to change what happened at the end of the battle, no matter what. So, I'd say more about it, but I played my Jawa Cup game earlier today and made a similar play where I'm like, well, this was a dumb play. Yeah, I mean, knowing where the 7 is, all right. So now you want to know where that 3 is? Or are you gonna, yeah, you can't, all right. Yeah, I guess it adds a couple cards in Life Force, like, maybe he just wanted that. I don't know. I feel like there's a spot where that could have gone better. You know, like you could hang on to that sneak attack in 7 and wait for a battle in space where you might actually be able to get something out of it instead of the end up with nothing happening. So, just personal preference. I think it was a turn that could have gone better. We see the drain of 2 at Kashyyyk plus the stack on the Arc Collection. So Brian's stacking a 5 on the Arc Collection. And then he's going to lose a couple of cards. There goes a Qui-Gon off the top and a Kit Fisto off the top. That was kind of what I was talking about, that, you know, Brian's deck has a lot of good Destiny, but there's a chunk of 1s in there as well. And right now he's just not seeing them. Like, Brian's only got 4 cards in hand. He doesn't have a lot to come back with necessarily. So this could get a little spicy. Let's see what Timo wants to do here. He knows what he's got stacked there for his Destiny. Does he have enough to go after and overpower and make something happen at the capital city? No. Cancel immunity on Art is a 0-2, and he's got 5, 4, 4, 4. Yeah, he'd already played No Escape, Dan, but that makes sense. There's the Vader, choke the Queen, and draw a good Destiny. And there's Kurgi. Kurgi's gonna just... Kurgi causes a ping. I love Kurgi. Kurgi is a spectacular card in lots of decks. We see he peeks at the top card of reserve deck. Doesn't do anything with it because it doesn't really matter. Oh! All right. So Timo says, I don't want to get stabbed, so he chokes out Ahsoka, which means he's going to draw a 5 or a 3 for Battle Destiny. Oh, adds 4 to the total. So now, oh, that's spicy. So now if he's got a 4 there, which I think he does. Oh, and Brian says, I am going to sense that. No, so with the history and philosophy and art, I think his thought process was choke out Ahsoka, who's the worst possible damage for him, and then draw a 4 with take a card off sand. So now you are stacking. It's a total of 8 and takes him completely out. Like you just take him out of the throne room, which would be huge. That sense was giant for Beefred though. Like he held on to that and used it at the right time, because that's where that history, philosophy, and art was going to be super impactful. Like I talked about I didn't think the first one was great. The second one was insanely good. Life course count. Timo is at 21 and B-Fred is at 23 right now. Both have 3 cards in hand, and Timo just played Dark Time, so his destiny can't be canceled. It also means, yeah, and there's the 4, exactly. So if he had added 4 to it, it would have been an 8. It would have cleared the throne room completely. Instead, now he's got to worry if Brian does not draw a 5. Brian draws a 1. Does he have a Jedi Lev? I mean, honestly, if you've got the Jedi Lev, I think you have to cancel and redraw here. Or take Mace. I mean, either one is... Yeah, I think I might actually just go with the take Mace. Like, you only have 3 cards in hand. And yeah, that sense on that history, philosophy, and art was massive. That was... That saved him the game for sure. You know, it may not end up being a winning play. Like, I'm not positive Brian's winning this game right now. It's still close. But if he doesn't do that, he absolutely doesn't win this game. Yeah, game saving sense for sure. I like that. It was still not a guarantee. And Brian is sitting on a Jedi Lev just deciding what he wants to do with that mace. Do you take it into hand and throw mace on Vader? Or do you go for the cancel and redraw? So interestingly enough, if Brian would have saved that sense, yeah, Chris, I think I'd take it into hand, but there's at least a case to be made if he thinks he's got a 5 there to go for the gold. Interestingly enough, if Brian would have saved that sense, so sensing history, philosophy, and art was huge. If Brian would have saved it for the Dark Time, he would have at least forced Timo to take another card off of sand, but it ultimately would have been much worse for him. So he made the right call on that sense, even though like Dark Time is probably more damaging long term, especially because it doesn't get stacked. But he had another way to go about it, so I think he made exactly the right play. And there we see the Jedi Lev to take Mace into hand, which, again, absolutely the right play, because that gives Brian a character to go at Timo with. Like, Vader's sitting there kind of alone and kind of, he's not in danger, but he's not totally safe either, if that makes sense. Brian could come down with a couple cards and create a problem. We do see Pancake go to lost pile because he did have to... Queen Amidala is only immune to less than 3. So that 4 meant somebody had to die. Timo uses 1 to move the Chimera over to Lothal. Chooses not up, follows with the Vengeance. As I say, I was thinking that seemed a little sketch. I would have moved the Vengeance with it as well. And Timo's internet was just a little bit slower than my thought process. I think you got to move Blizzard 4 as well. Like, you could make an argument to shuttle Kurgi up. All right, so he says Kurgi will just sit here and be forfeit 4 or forfeit 5, which might be enough to keep me alive at Lothal, the capital city. I might have moved Blizzard 4 over. I mean, it would suck to give up that Drain of 3, but you want to keep a ground presence, so you're draining for free. And giving that up is bad and feels bad. So let's see what we get from Brian here. Like, we know he's got a mace in hand. We don't know what else he has in hand. Mace has got to go at Vader. And honestly, like, I almost think you have to have a saber if you've got it. Like, this is what you have to do at this point. and go for the gusto. I just don't know that I love any of his options necessarily. Because you're going to battle Blizzard 4 as well, and you're just going to kill Kirky. Again, Kirky forfeits for 5. Like, you're probably not getting that much more over on it. And Brian just isn't getting a ton of damage out right now. So life force count, Timo has 16 down and 5 in hand for a total of 21. Brian has 20 down and 3 in hand for a total of 23. So it is still a very close game for both players. There's been a lot more action and back and forth than I expected. I really was kind of thinking this was going to be a somewhat non-interactive racy game, and they went, both players says, nah, son, we're going after each other. And we see Pancake come down to the throne room. We see Mace coming down to the throne room. That's a bunch of power, but Timo's choking somebody out, and that's going to be bad. Carl says, feel free to ask a trivia. Carl, you are giving me far too much credit for having prepped a trivia question. That is a much more of a Dan plan. And we see Timo sneak attacked a 4-back to choke out Panaka, which I like. That being said, Carl, if you have a trivia question you would like to use, feel free to shoot me a message on Slack with it real quick, and I can ask it and give some away, because I do love giving away your Gemp packs. And Timo grabs the last card off of Coarse and Rough and Irritating to make sure this Battle Destiny goes through. And here, Brian draws a 3. That is not what he wanted to draw there. Oh! Timo draws a 1. That was even less what he wanted. I think he thought there was a better destiny there and was hoping to draw good and keep Vader alive. Instead, we saw the exact opposite happen, and that was bad. So now we see the battle at Lothal City. Timo's actually up in power now after he takes a card off of History, Philosophy, and Art, because the additional Mace coming down dropped Yoda's power to 3 instead of 6. So that is fine. Like, realistically, you're still in the point of Timo's going to lose Kirgy from this, and that's really likely all that's happening out of that. Oh, what the? He took the 4. He got Thunder Flare. Oh, upload a card with ability. All right, so it isn't the +3 power. It's grab a card. So he grabs a Bad Destiny out of his reserve deck. Brian draws a 4 for Battle Destiny, so his total power is 13, which means Kirgy's going to cover no matter what. And Timo draws a 4, which I'm sure we're going to, yep, Brian says, yeah, we're going to cancel that one. So Timo loses Kirgy. And that's all that happened there. Again, fine, he lost 1 instead of a drain 3. All right, so Carl is coming up with trivia. Let's see what we got here. Did you send it via Slack? There we go. All right, so we've got a good trivia question here from Carl as Brian's just drying up a little bit here. Timo made Day 2 of Worlds 2 years ago when it was in Europe. Brian made Top 8 of Worlds this year in Seattle that just happened a couple months ago. Each player played this deck. Timo played Thrawn. Beefred played WHAP. What deck did they play for the other side? First person in chat, gets a Gimp pack. In fact, first 2 in chat. One that gets Brian's deck right, one that gets Timo's deck right. Dan, you've got a Gimp pack coming. Timo played 0 Hour. No one has gotten Brian's deck, though. So, as we see, Timo activates and drains, stacks the card off, and there we go. Mike Fahrenheit with the Shadow Collective on Beefred. Dan, you got 1, you don't get 2. So, Dan Tartaglione, the unofficial official voice of Star Wars CCG, and Mike. Where did you say both, Logan? You said 0 Hour and Invasion. Invasion is not the answer. Dan said 0 Hour first. And you got the other one wrong. I don't know where you're going with this, Logan. So that's so. And yes, Logan, honestly, I remembered you offering to co-host this with me, and I kind of forgot. And then I got moved up. The time frame got moved up a little bit, so I didn't have time to try and reach out to you. So that's on me. It's not that I hate you that much. So Dan is taking care of a sick pet right now, and that is unfortunate. I hope she feels better. As Timo says, I think I need to spread here, and throws Veers on Blizzard 2 at the courtyard. Brian plays quite a mercenary to go get Chewie. Chewie is not in there. I am shocked. Timo gets a verify that he already got. No big surprise by there. And I mean, Timo's going to move phase. I think at this point you moved your ships to Camino. All right, Timo just says I can stay in front of you, so we'll move the Chimera over because you're just going to lose pride. I think you still move the Vengeance. Yep, you got the Thunder Flare, but you don't have enough to go after it. I mean, he might have been looking for mercenary armor. Also, though, not in the deck. These things were just not there. And Timo's starting to threaten some damage. I mean, Brian's doing 2. Like, that's not enough. So there's a Thrawn pincer again, just a cycle of 6. Price. What battle you lost unless hit or no other imperials present. Okay, so Timo could always move price down onto Blizzard 4 as well here. So, but congratulations to our two winners. And then Brian says, hey, I need a revert. I want to draw 4 Destiny. Timo says, sure. Again, these guys are both very nice guys, and reverts on activation is something that is explicitly allowed, and explicitly said you should accept activation reverts. Dan is Beefred playing like Buffalo Bills. I mean, this is like the first round of the Outrider Cup, so then he would win. It's just, once it gets to the end, they struggle a little bit. So, that'll be interesting. I will say that Timo's, Battle Destiny in that battle with Vader was wide right. Like that one felt real bad. So Mike Turner's like, I want more letters allowed on GAMP. And Brian says, all right, let's dance in space. He drops the Endurance down there as well. I'm assuming we'll see. So they Endurance is immune to less than 3 right away. Killian, I don't think does anything fancy to it. Oh, he'd add 1 to the immunity. So Brian does not battle isn't going to battle in space, I don't think. We see the battle on the ground. Teemo adds 3 to his power by taking a 5 off of Art Collection. Oh, and Teemo says, hold on. Yeah, Chris, apparently no one created a league yet for the Outrider Cup games, and I don't know about you, but I think we should blame AJ for that. It's a GEMP thing. I think we should blame AJ. It looks like there's a revert on the battle. Teemo took the wrong card off of Art. And instead does the same thing. I'm not sure. Okay, well, whatevs. So Teemo does takes the same disarmed, stacks adds 3 to his power. I think, and you say Teemo say in chat, you might draw a 5. That's if he had drawn a 5 and Teemo doesn't add 3 to power, he's taking an overflow versus drawing less than a 5 there. He can get it. Now, drawing that Dark Time for Destiny is not ideal, because if he could win this battle in space, he now can't use Price to go get the Dark Time, which is what he really would have liked to do. Instead, we see he takes a 4. Teemo takes a 4 off of the Art Collection, so he's going to go get a card with ability, grabbing the Mara Jade with Lightsaber, which is good. You do not want to draw that one again. And Brian says leadership to add another Destiny, and Teemo grabs it. Does Teemo have a command? Oh, Teemo does not. Well, he might have a command, but he doesn't have the force to pay for it, so Teemo does not have a command. This could get spicy. We got a 5. We got a 4. And we got a 5. So there's a 14 in attrition. That's a whole bunch. Brian's going to lose Teemo's losing this battle. There's a 4, which I expect Brian will cancel. Yep. And a 5, which I expect Brian will cancel. Yep. So Teemo got off to a decent start, but he did not. Brian got his space early and was able to start grinding it, and that's the difference here. Like, if Brian had struggled to put his space together a little bit more, I think Teemo would have been okay, but he got it so quick that it's a tough to face off against those ships. Like, Teemo not having the LCB, the laser cannon battery, is big, because a laser cannon battery would have been absolute murder. Like, oh, that's a nice Resolute you got there. It'd be a shame if someone shot it down, and that's it. Like, that was what Teemo needed, not having that. And I'm sure he's got the card in deck, because we did see the artilleries. So he's got the laser cannon batteries. He's just not found them. Is real unfortunate. So I'm not sure if Teemo can come back from this. It's going to be... I just don't think he can cause enough damage anymore. Like, this is a drain race now. Teemo is actually up a couple force total. Teemo's got 18 in life force. Brian has 17 in life force. But I think Brian has turned the corner here and is in a position to win this game. And I think that's what Teemo is trying to figure out, is what can I activate? What can I do with Mara to get out of the, to get back the position I need to be in this game. Like, can I do enough with Mara to, it's really, does he have a 3-tracked where he can drop to the throne room, battle mace, battle hit mace, draw 3 for Amidala, and then control the throne room? And Teemo says he does not, as he activates everything and just says, oh, I'm going to drain for 2 here, and that's all the draining he's going to do. That is not good. And we see Jedi Lev, V, and Obi's Saber off the top. Brian does only have 2 cards in hand. He is not going to be putting a lot of stuff down. We see Mara with lightsaber to the throne room. So again, Brian's also only got 2 cards in hand. Like, this is there's still a chance theoretically that Teemo can, take out that site, and Brian's in suddenly a much worse position. And the Le Grand Inquisitor coming down with him. Very solid, because it also means Teemo is now threatening that weapon twice. Chimera moves to Kashyyyk. Blizzard 4. I think you just leave Blizzard 4. Yeah, you're going to lose it this turn and say fine. Like, it forfeits for 5. You blocked that drain for another turn and lose 1 card you already deployed instead of 3 force that you would lose to the drain. So that's solid. It's really going to depend on if Brian's got anything in hand to contest the throne room more. And Brian activates all but 1. So, woo. That feels a little concerning. And we see the Don't Do That Again play. So he's going to go for a search before he activates, maybe. Not sure. Yeah, there's a revert. I'm not sure what the thought process was there. Like, activating to that 1, like, it's not a good battle there. And okay, so he's leaving 2. Not sure what he's doing with 2 instead of 1. Here we see the Don't Do That Again coming out again. And Beefred searches for an immediate effect, gives up a verify. It's really just 1 or the destiny there. And I don't know how that's super beneficial. Like, you're killing 1 guy no matter what. You're killing either Mara or the Inquisitor no matter what, because you're not hitting. And Beefred says, fine, I'm going to activate 1 more. I wonder if maybe he had something to go in space. Like, I don't know. And we see the drain of 2 at Camino. And Teemo loses a Restraining Bolt from hand and a Trample from hand. Seems like those are both solid losses. And you know what? Maybe Brian was looking at a Captain Rex plus somebody to go take on Blizzard 2. And all he needed to do was draw 6 total. And he didn't have it. That's, if he has two dudes in hand, like, that's the play. And there he's using Kenobi, flashing with Galactic Republic Navy just to see what that 1 destiny is. I mean, maybe you throw Kenobi down to the throne room as well. Like, then at least you win the battle. But you just, gosh, I don't love taking the risk of staring at Mace or Amidala or Kenobi alone in there against Mara with Saber. And yeah, I mean, unless you had a 5, you could make a 6. I don't love going at Blizzard 2 either. Although that wouldn't be, if you've got the 5, that'd be a good play. Like, just go clear it out. You drop General Kenobi, you add 1 to the Destiny, and you say thanks. And that might be all you can do. It's just a less than ideal circumstance, I think. And it stops you from battling Blizzard 4, which is also a battle you want to have happen. Like, you need to take out Blizzard 4 just to take out Blizzard 4. Like you just say, okay, I want to kill Blizzard 4 so I can turn that into a drain of 3. And that's valuable right there. Like, I think Brian's turn here has got to be Battle Blizzard 4, move Killian onto the Endurance, move the Resolute in front of Chimera, and then, I don't know. I mean, I might actually put Kenobi in the throne room and just not battle in the throne room, because it'd be a lot harder for Teemo to start a battle into you there. And this would at least stall that out. You know, like, you're still going to get drained for 2, but now you're turning around and saying, okay, on my turn, I'm going to drain you for 5. And this is a super close game with a lot, you know, neither of them have a ton of cards or a ton of force left. You know, Teemo's got 12 down and 2 in hand. B-Fred's got 13 down and 2 in hand. So if B-Fred can take over the capital city, turn that into a drain of 3, along with the drain of 2 in space, and, you know, potentially even a drain of 4 in space, like, that's going to get real bad for Teemo real quick. And I think Brian's just trying to figure that out. So, yep, Brian says, I don't want to deploy Kenobi, which I don't hate. I think I would have liked to see him go to the throne room just to make sure you can't get flicked. Yeah, but if you put Kenobi down there, I don't think Teemo can battle. And not putting Kenobi down there means you definitely get battled. So we see the battle. I mean, I guess Brian could use the Force. It didn't really matter. I don't know that I love canceling. I don't know that I see the need to cancel that Battle Destiny. Like, you guys are all immune. You weren't losing in power. Or I guess you would have lost in 1 in power. So never mind. Fine. Cancel the Battle Destiny. There we see the ship dock from Resolute and Endurance. Just like I called it, Admiral Killian goes over onto the Endurance. Yeah, you could relocate Yoda. That'd be a solid... That'd be the other option, is relocate Yoda to the throne room. And see the Resolute move over. Yoda just moves to the 2-0 and says, look, I'll drain for 2. Like, Brian's putting Teemo in the spot where he has to be able to do something. And, like, if Brian's got a blaster deflection, he's totally happy right now, I think. Well, I don't know, because I think Teemo just swing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Teemo. So it depends on what Teemo has. If he has a way to stop the, if Teemo's got a way to force the Battle Destiny through, or not, because right now Mace is fully immune, and the only way you flip him back is to control the throne room. Although it does stop the ping damage. Ping damage really isn't a big deal to Teemo right now. It's the Battle Destiny canceling and what he can do with it. And I don't see a line here for Teemo that is a win. He's got 2 cards in hand, unless he's got something crazy in hand, like a 3rd Vader. Like, that'd be kind of insane. Like, here's another Vader, choke out Amidala, Mace isn't immune. Like, that'd be kind of nuts. But short of that, I just don't see. Teemo's going to drain for 2, and Brian's going to in turn drain for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And Teemo's only got 14 cards left. So that drain of 9 is going to do a lot of damage real quick. Teemo activates 10. He's leaving 2 in reserve, which is a number that confuses me. Unless he's got like a second Thrawn, and Thrawn on the Chimera, play a Dark Time. blow up the Resolute and hope. I guess, like I don't know. I don't love I don't love any of the options Timo's got here again with 2 cards in hand. Like I don't know what those 2 cards are, but I don't think I like them. Timo searches for a trample, doesn't find one. B-Fred gets the verify. And there's a We're Doomed from Brian to reduce the damage. So Timo should have drained first because now he's only going to cause 1 damage instead of 2. Although he does grab the We're Doomed. So he effectively caused 2 damage there, which is nice. Like, it's fine. And saving the grabber for the tentacle for the We're Doomed was good. I mean, we know Brian's got the It Could Be Worse as well. So that's potential issue. And there goes Brian says, I don't need this second Master Yoda. The one I have is never going to die. And I don't know where Timo's going with this. I'm curious. I really, really am. So sounds like Mike Turner got an awesome pack from the GEMP trivia question that Carl put out with the AI, Dark Sand, Outrider, Dark Cyber, and Merrick Steel. Those AIs, the graphics work is so good, y'all. Like, if you haven't gotten to look at them, you haven't seen them, you are missing out. And if you have, okay, all right, so we did a kind of spread out thing here. And we do see, yep, Amidala is going to get chopped up. There's a 4 and a 3. So that does hit Amidala. No Battle Destiny, but now you just fine. You'll lose the Inquisitor. He loses Mace. And okay. There's a 4 for Battle Destiny. So yeah, I'm not sure what Timo's line was there. Like, yeah, I guess you still have Mara, but like, you dropped a second Star Destroyer in front of the Resolute, but you're probably just going to end up outpowered there if Brian battles you. Yeah, this is okay. And Chris is saying the same. Timo says, I'm not going to concede. I'm going to throw everything I can out there. It's just everything he can ain't going to get there. Like, honestly, I wouldn't have hated Tarkin at the throne room with the Inquisitor. Instead of the Thunder Flare, you battle, you get 2 Battle Destinies there. Like, you just activate 2 less, you get 2 Battle Destinies. And then move the Chimera to Lothal and give yourself another turn to hope. Like, I think you're still dead no matter what. But that at least threatens a little bit more. I mean, I guess it gives up the drain of 2 with Yoda. But I don't know. I think I would have liked to see that. It would have at least threatened a little bit more. Instead, Timo's eating a drain of 5 here. He's down to 7 cards in force and nothing in hand. Brian's got 8 cards down and 5 in hand. So I think this is Brian's game unless something goes crazy. So I'd like you all to just mentally start humming the Star Spangled Banner. I'm not going to do it right now, but this is, Team USA drawing first blood here with Brian Fred on WHAP. So that's, he's putting Europe on their back foot. Like, the European guys are going to have to step up hard here. You guys are down. You're going to need to come back. I'll be honest, I don't think I've ever seen Rocky IV, Carl. So when I was in high school, a very good friend of mine was a massive, massive Rocky fan, and I never got it. So here we see Brian says, oh, I'm just going to battle and kill Tarkin. And he draws a 2 for Battle Destiny. Honestly, doesn't matter. Like, if Teemo draws a 3 exactly, if Teemo draws a 1, so they tie in power. Or he can take, okay, so he takes it into hand with Enforcement. So Teemo still gets to draw something. Teemo instead draws a 5, so it's going to get canceled. And Tarkin dies. I mean, he lost Tarkin and basically lost 1 card instead of 2, but it wasn't anything of note. And that got rid of the 2, so Brian knows what's in his reserve deck. Are the other 2 high enough total to clear? Does he have a 5/5 in there and just make space go bye-bye? Like, I think that's what you do. There's no way you battle at the throne room. Like, that would be a terrible play. Okay. He did not have 5/5, so he says, all right, I'll take this risk. And Teemo can drain him for 2. And Brian's fine. That's, it's 2. Brian is going to be fine with that. Teemo activates. Looks like he leaves enough to... Brian with the it could be worse. So Brian loses nothing. Teemo, it feels like he's planning to just swing at take a swing at Mace and then flip Brian back. Yeah, that would be my expectation. What we saw in chat, Teemo says, is there a differential thing going on? And Brian says, I don't think so. And yeah, I mean, you're okay. So you swing, you hit him, you're going to keep a guy alive there. You're going to keep Mara alive there after you put down Gideon. And Teemo with the GG, he concedes. Ultimately, it wouldn't have mattered. Teemo had 6 cards down and was going to get drained for 7 next turn, no matter what. So congratulations to Brian Fred. Congratulations to Team USA. Feeling a little patriotic here. I feel like we all should be, if I could put a flag waving thing in stream chat, I would, but I can't. So congratulations to Brian Fred. Spectacularly played game. Honestly, well played by both players. I think Teemo played very well as well. Congrats to Team USA. And we will see you guys all fairly soon. I know there's some more games that will be coming up on stream. I think there's one in a day or 2, and then Sam has one on Friday. And Greg Shaw has one of his is going on the 31st. I think that's all that's been scheduled so far, but we'll see. All of them are on the forums, and we will go from there. So thank you all for watching. Everybody have a great day.